Hello, my name is Michael Harrison. I am a chaplain as well as a relationship coach specializing in infidelity and intimacy issues with Trinity of Christ Ministries. Today, I'd like to talk a little bit about some of the problems that the Christian marriage faces, as well as people who are not Christians. Um, we like to think that as Christians, we have it all figured out, and sometimes that's simply not the case. Um, in the Christian community today, we have about a 50% rate with divorce. Unfortunately, that's not much better than the non-Christian community. We tend to believe that Christianity will help us in our marriage, and it absolutely does help us in our marriage. The problem is we have to apply Christian principles in order for it to be beneficial to us. The marriage among Christians is a sacred bond between couples and God Himself. When we take a covenant of marriage, we're also taking a covenant with God that God will bless our marriage and teach us the way to serve Him and to serve each other, to keep each other safe and secure, and to share a bond and a lasting relationship together. So there's some interesting facts with the Christian marriage. Among Christians that go to church at least twice a week, the divorce rate tends to drop about 50%. Now, this will vary a little bit depending on the source of who you ask, but that's a pretty good average. Um, this is practicing Christians that are true to their faith and attend church at least twice a week. Um, the number one reason for divorce among Christians is infidelity. Um, that also stems from a lack of communication. Infidelity is a problem that's not unique to any religion or any gender or race. It is a problem that exists throughout our society. Because we are all broken and sinful, we all are capable of committing infidelity. This is precisely why we need to follow the teachings of Christ to teach us how to love and cherish one another. The number one reason may be infidelity, but we also need to know why. Why do we commit infidelity, adultery? Well, that can be summed up in a couple of different reasons, but the main reason is simply disrespect. We don't respect our husband or wife. Um, we tend to be selfish and worry about our own needs instead of the needs of those we love and those we have made a covenant to cherish. We need to talk to one another. Communication is key. Communication is what helps us learn what each other needs in the marriage. We can't put our marriage on autopilot. We have to make a concerted effort to love one another and to cherish one another, and most of all, respect one another. One of the biggest obstacles to a marriage, Christian and non-Christian, is finding time to spend with each other. We need to find time to love one another and spend time with each other. Now, we may automatically think that this involves, um, you know, sexual intimacy or something like that. And of course it does. But it can also involve other things, simple things like touching one another, rubbing each other's back, rubbing each other's feet, holding hands, watching TV together, holding hands, reading a book together while lying in bed. Lots of different ways we can show intimacy to each other. And intimacy is very important because it strengthens the bond between the husband and the wife. Um, we'll often hear people say, well, we don't have time, we have children, we don't have time, I'm working, so many hours at work, I'm working this, I'm doing that. But this is why we need to prioritize time for our spouse. We need to make it just as important as a doctor's appointment or going to work or any other thing that's very important to us. We need to have this so that we can have a connection with each other. And the number one thing that we face is not prioritizing each other. And that leads to problems. It leads to a feeling of disconnect that can lead to a feeling of loneliness. And inevitably, it can lead to a instance to where somebody commits adultery. So the connection between a husband and a wife is a very important connection. We need to make an effort to spend time together, to show affection to one another, and to put it in reality terms, to stop being selfish and only thinking about ourselves. We need to think about our spouse and what their needs are instead of only thinking about what our needs are. Um, so why do people cheat? Well, this question comes down to lots of different reasons for lots of different people. But the main reason that people cheat is a lack of respect for the covenant of marriage, a lack of respect for our spouses, and a lack of communication. Um, we need to make sure that we realize the main reasons, and that is adultery, abandonment, abuse, all these things um, can be present in a bad marriage, a marriage that people are not giving effort. Uh, rolling your eyes when your spouse speaks to you or asks you for a favor, or belittling your spouse, especially if it's in front of other people, being very condescending. All these things are very bad for a relationship. And it comes down to a lack of respect. So we'll be making more videos covering the subject of intimacy and relationship and infidelity. But I wanted to give a general overview of what some of the basic problems are that we face, Christian and non-Christian. Of course, as a Christian, we need to ask Christ for forgiveness of our sins that we commit against our spouses every day. We need to ask God to guide us in respecting and loving and caring for our spouse, just like the covenant that we made when we took our vows to each other. We also took a vow to God. This is very important. And as we move through life, hopefully we learn each day how to better serve not only God, but also our spouse. And I'd like to thank you for watching. I would like to invite you to join us at trinityofchrist.org. You will find many, many things there that will be very helpful to you in your walk with God, in your relationship with your spouse, and hopefully we will see you there. We also have a page on Facebook, if that's more convenient for you, where we post most of our content. Um, we would also like to invite you for our online Sunday services that we have every Sunday. You don't need to stop going to your own church. You can simply watch our sermons anytime. They are available on YouTube. Just type in TOCM and it will come up on your YouTube. Um, we do this as a way to try to serve Christ through many, many things. We like to come to people who may not be able to come to church, and some people, have disabilities and things like that. So if you're one of those people, please come and see us at trinityofchrist.org. Find us on Facebook, find us on YouTube, and we will see you next time. God bless.